G'day guys, how are you? Matt the Big Bear Redwoods here. Welcome to my podcast. On this, mate, we talk about all sorts of topics. From footy, fishing, beers, all kinds. So come and join me, mate. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the bloody show. But let's have a yak, shall we? Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to this first episode of Having a Yak with me, your host, Matt the Big Bear Redwoods. Or you can just stick with Matt. Today, I've actually got myself a special guest. Like I said to you in the introduction episode, he's going to be with me a fair bit on each episode, I'd reckon. Not all episodes, but most episodes, I'd reckon. It's my good mate, Andrew. What's going on, mate?
Very little.
Very little, yes. Especially at these crazy times that we're actually dealing with at the moment with this virus. It's just one of those things, isn't it? Andrew. Mate, that was your cue.
Sorry, I missed that one altogether. Sorry, I was just thinking that was something else. Then go on.
No, mate, no, it's all good. I'm just saying that it's pretty crazy times at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely a first for myself, and I'm pretty sure for you as well.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, definitely. I don't honestly think we've ever dealt with anything like this before, have we?
No, it's something which I gotta admit, it's a bit surreal because even right up until even the whole time you're always sort of thinking, this is, just another, which is actually something I wouldn't mind touching on. Is
Yep.
Gonna go straight into it. Do you think that after this finishes and we get to the other side, do you reckon one of the things that should be addressed is from now on in, this should serve as a warning that the media's got to stop telling us the world's coming to an end every second week, because I reckon at least 70% of this could have been fixed, could have been solved a lot sooner if we weren't so desensitized to the world coming to an end, if so to speak.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone took it seriously until we realized that it actually was a legitimate issue. Because I think we all just went, what now?
Yeah, I know.
It becomes a bit of white noise.
Yeah, I reckon because, we're not going to point our fingers at all media, but at the same time, it is most media, because it's been all over the news, hasn't it, that all this fear-mongering bloody bullshit about how bad this virus is, and it has actually been proven that how bad this virus is. It is bad. We're on level 3 at the moment, restrictions here, but I dare say for a fact that shit has to be said, shit has to be done, and basically people have to be responsible for their actions in some ways, about how they have reacted to this type of shit. And I reckon too that there should be, I wouldn't say a royal commission, because we have royal commissions over fucking everything these days, but it just seems like something has to be done, like really has to be done.
Yeah, because I truly believe that I would say at least 70% of people, when this first started coming out, generally didn't take it seriously, because we've been here a million times before where the government's told us, or not the government, pardon me, the media's come out, and especially 60 Minutes, I think 60 Minutes is one of the worst for it. They're always telling us there's something that's going to end the world in the next year. And it's just constant. And eventually when something does need to be done, and there is action required, no one takes it seriously. No one believes what they're hearing, because it's just because they're desensitized to it.
Yeah, of course. It's too much fear mongering, mate, and this bloody bullshit. I'm doing this podcast on the 16th of the 4th. It's pretty. We're probably in more or less in the middle stages of this virus, so we're doing this podcast a bit late, but that's just the way times are.
Well, I'd say depending on where you are in the world, really,
yeah, exactly.
Where you're at. I mean, I'd say in Australia, we're probably on the way out, I think. More so, luckily, touch wood, than a lot of other countries.
Yeah. There was that big fucking fascination, mate, with fucking toilet paper. Like, what the fuck? And hand sanitizer and hand wipes and fucking everything else, mate.
Well, the hand sanitizer and hand wipes kind of do have some they do make some sense, you know.
Yeah.
But the toilet paper is one I couldn't really like.
And people were just bloody panic buying, mate. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, mate? You're bloody buying nearly 10 fucking packets of toilet rolls. What are you going to do? Fucking build a cubby house with it?
Yeah, well, at the start when this first started happening, I remember trying to figure out, is there a link between toilet paper and the virus? Because I thought hand sanitizer, sure, that makes sense. You know, wipes and that makes sense. But
Yeah.
the toilet paper still, it has not really. No one's provided an answer as to what it was meant. You know, what help it will be.
Well, I've actually got a question for you, mate. Where the fuck did it actually start? That's what I want to know. Like, when did this bloody bullshit with the toilet rolls actually start? Like,
It kind of happened out of nowhere. Like, I mean, in the
yeah.
course of a couple of days, there was no real building period to it, and
It just seems very strange, mate. It really does. And people are not listening. Like, at the moment, like I said, we're on stage 3. People are still not fucking listening to stay home. I'm guilty of that, but I go shopping. I do food shopping. That's the only times I really go out. I go food shopping. But it's these people who go down to the beach. Like, I remember, like, you probably know this too, mate. That first time we ended up having level 2 restrictions and level 3 restrictions actually first came in, unfortunately, when all those people got put off their work, which was freaking terrible, everyone decided, well, okay, well, I've got a day off now for a few weeks or whatever the bloody case is. I'm going to go down to the bloody beach. And you're supposed to have this 1.5 metre distance away from you, but yet no one's really talking. Not talking. No one's really listening and talking about, well, I suppose we better, follow what medical people actually say, like these medical experts actually are saying, well, distance yourself, but no one's listening.
well, that's actually something in which I will touch on a little bit too. Is that I do find it hard to be critical of those people simply because of what we said at the start. Is that another thing too? This is probably the root of the issue.
Yeah.
There was one. Now I'm not going to quote him 100%. I'm not going to name a name because I can't really remember off the top of my head. But he was saying that nearly 120 odd thousand people in Australia will get this virus, and that was really the start of the panic. And now, since then, that bloke has proven to be absolutely full of shit.
Yeah.
Because no country in the world's got 120 viruses as of yet, let alone a country like Australia.
Yeah.
But more to the point, there was no evidence in what he said. And he recently, about a week ago, said Australia's on the verge of the virus dying out, which is a far cry from what he said 4 weeks earlier. Now, things can change in 4 weeks, but they can't change that drastically, which shows that his original statement was not based on anything, which is why we've got to stop these people having a voice. We can't let people like that be able to... Where's the accountability in the media to say, right, we need facts. We can't have opinions and...
We need answers, mate. We need answers.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, mate. But yeah, go on.
But that to me is what the biggest issue of this whole thing is too many people are putting in opinions, and not even educated opinions. They're just like some of these professors and that have just been have been throwing ridiculous numbers out there.
Yeah.
Which, as we can see quite clearly, have been, being proven absolutely farcical. But what will happen is in a year's time, they'll start throwing other things out there about something else.
Oh yeah, well, they always do, mate. They always do. Go ahead.
But I truly think at some stage there needs to be some accountability in the media, and especially in what people say.
Yeah.
People who have a public voice is probably better way to put it.
Yeah. I There's this. It's one of those things, mate, where in some ways you don't know because the media have been proven they're full of shit. Like, how do we really can actually listen to the media if they're actually telling lies or not? Are they actually telling lies? Are they actually telling the truth? Are they, you know, are they doing the fucking the goldfish bloody method? And people who don't know what the goldfish method is or whatever it is, it's basically taking the goldfish and extending it out to a great white shark, which means they take one little story and extend it out to, and they just dramatize it to where there's nothing really true about it, really.
Yeah, and I feel like a large part of this whole issue has been it's been so many so much different information, and you just don't really know what the truth is. And I feel like we're learning more and more that this virus, in Australia anyway, isn't quite as bad as it is overseas, thankfully. Now,
Yes, definitely.
now, if we had some calm from the start, we wouldn't have had that panic buying. We wouldn't have had all this drama, and things would have been a lot smoother. But no one really knew what it is, what's going on.
Yeah, well, it's like this bloody like the theories have now come out, mate. The theories have now come out. The fucking theories. They reckon that this is a man-made virus, and they reckon that this. Well, I'm not facting nothing. I'm not saying that people have said this. I'm just saying what I've heard. And Andrew will probably say the same thing. We just say what we hear. We don't factor no one. Unless I'll say, I quote, that's when I know for a fact. But the thing is, too, is that people reckon, or some people reckon, that this is a world thinner. Now, what that means is that all the oldies are getting affected, and because what do you reckon, Andrew? Probably nearly 3/4 of the cases and the people who have actually unfortunately died have been over 70.
Well,
But
in Australia, it's pretty much, I'd say, almost 80-90% in Australia, that is. But
yeah,
for the rest of the world, I don't really know. I haven't really looked into the rest of the world too much. But
but hey, don't get me wrong either, mate. I'm not saying it's just the oldies. Unfortunately, there actually have been a couple of young ones die as well, which we are very sorry about. And for the oldies, of course. But when it comes to the young little kids, like I think there was one. I think she was only like a little toddler, and that was pretty bad. But
from what I understand, I feel like you have to be if you're under the age of 40, or under the age of 50, I would say. I feel like from what all the information, you have to be already compromised quite severely for it to take your life.
yeah,
I think if you're over the age of 50, it's a bit different, but that's just from what I understand. I mean, it's not like the virus itself. I don't think is anywhere near as bad as say AIDS or something like that. The difference is of how easy it spreads, and that's where the issue lies. Is that sure it can get contracted by a fit 27-year-old, 30-year-old that they may not even know, right?
yeah,
But he could pass that on to two or three people in their 70s and they lose their life, or pass on to someone who's just battling cancer or just gotten over leukemia or something like that,
yeah,
who's already, you know, immune system's already down. That's the issue, and that's why I think panic buying and all that is so bad. Is because we got to help people who genuinely are vulnerable.
yeah. Definitely, mate. Definitely. Um, well, this coronavirus, and I'm not exactly quoting this, but we've had 2,107,433 cases. Sorry, cases. What the fuck? Oh,
Wasn't that a footy
Jesus.
team, Casey Scorpions or something?
I've got some stats here, and the biggest one out of the whole lot of them has actually been in the United States with over 644,806. Spain. I'm not going to say all the numbers because I'm not going to bore you blokes, everyone, about numbers. But the more or less the tally goes is that United States is one, Spain, Italy, France, Germany, UK, China, Iran, Turkey, Belgium, the Netherlands, Brazil, Canada, Russia, Switzerland, Portugal, Austria, India, Israel, Ireland, Sweden, Peru, South Korea, Japan, Chile, Ecuador, buddy, everyone. But on here, like on this list, Australia has only had 6,468 cases, compared to, like I said, the United States over 600,000. And the thing is too is that out of all those cases, I'm not going to say exactly how much of each thing, but we've only had 2,107,433 cases, but we've only had 136,980 deaths, but we've had recovered. Now this is a good number. 523,439 cases have actually been recovered.
Now, that in there is where people should read that, take a deep breath, and realize that you've got to relax a little bit about this in terms of, sure, a lot of that's a large number of deaths, and sadly they have passed away.
Yeah.
But you've also got to look at the fact that if you were to look at what suicide does, I'm not saying it's worse, better, even different, is that a lot of lives are taken in a lot of our things that we're missing, we're losing perspective of, and we just need to calm down a tad with this whole thing.
Yeah, definitely. But this is our opinion on this virus, and we are making progress with it, which is fucking fantastic. We are doing the right thing by doing what we're doing. I think I'm not going to quote the actual numbers, but I think we've more or less came down nearly 70% of what the cases have been the last week or so. We've come down
Well,
dramatically.
In Australia last night, which would have been between the 15th and the 16th, there was only 21 new cases.
Yeah.
And 9 of those cases came from the one nursing home.
Yeah,
so,
that was shocking.
That's shocking. But that means realistically, there's only probably 3 different areas where the virus is really at the moment. So we need to be thankful for that. And it's one of those things where we need to, as Australians, need to look around a bit at what America and what England's going through and just sit here and say, we can't keep attacking our government and all that kind of stuff, because really what they've done is actually quite remarkable.
Yeah, definitely.
We need to be a bit thankful, and I'm not overly political, but I'm just sitting here and saying that, yeah, there are some things we can look at this and say they've handled it well, and sure, could we probably be out of lockdown? We probably could right now, but it's better safe than sorry, and it's one of those things where another month or two isn't going to kill anyone, and if we can get out of this with our grandparents and people who are sick and giving them a chance, then really a month or two is not going to bother me personally.
Yep.
And I'm sure it's not going to bother Matt.
No, mate. I'm just going to sit here in my little studio here and make a podcast with you. So, all good. And now just a bit, now we've talked a bit about the coronavirus now. And it sounded like a news broadcaster anyway. But that's it. That's just what our opinions are. And
yeah, take them for what they're worth.
Exactly. If you don't like them, you don't like them. If you agree with them, thank you very much. But it's just, yeah, it's just one of those things where you kind of got to have a bit of a say. You can't just get told to shut the fuck up and just go on by your life because you can't do it. And but yeah, that's basically it. Now, I don't know if you could tell, but the way Andrew's sounding is a bit different to me because Andrew's actually not here. He's actually in Melbourne and I'm Southwest Victoria. Um, so we can't actually see each other. Like we actually, I went over to his place there one night before all the shit really hit the fan. And
Probably the start of it, I reckon.
yeah, it was, and bloody lucky. I did go when I did go. Bloody hell! But it really hit the fan fucking quick. Like it really hit the fan.
And I think that's the thing where when we say hit the fan, we mean we've also got to put in perspective. It really hasn't been anywhere near what it's been overseas over here,
Oh, Christ, no.
and that's due to the government taking swift action.
Yep. I agree with most things that the government have done with this case. They have seen a problem, they've isolated it, and they've dealt with it. So that's the best thing to do. But just to talk about me and Andrew now. Andrew and I, we went to school together. You and Andrew, we bloody, I was a year 9, year 10. Andrew, you're a year 8 when I first met you, didn't I?
Yeah, 2005, 2006, yeah.
Yeah,
Would have been, 7, 8.
But yeah, we've been mates for 2006. Where we are now,
About 15 years.
Yeah, about 15 fucking years. Jesus Christ. But we've been through a heap together, haven't we? And we always talk shit on here, and we're always going to talk shit on the PlayStation and words like that.
Talk shit, whether it be about each other, whether it be about life or anything. One of those friendships where, hell, we can argue like cats and dogs, but
We'll always be there. Always about that.
yeah, it's one of those things where whereas it's one of those friendships where I can bag the crap out of Matt can bag the crap out of me. But if somebody else bags one of us, then
they're fucked.
yeah.
But just another point too about what we do here is that when I said in my introduction episode, when I said that I'd have a chat with a mate at a pub and that, this is what I'm referring to. Like I'll bring people on, and it would just be this type of scenario, just having a chat at the pub, or at home having a coffee or something like that. But just one of those type of things. But one other thing too that me and Andrew are very passionate about is football. I told you in my introduction that I'm a Carlton fan, and Andrew here is a North Melbourne Kangaroos fan. And at the moment, we are I'm having withdrawal symptoms because I can't watch my footy. I bet you're probably feeling the same way too, ain't you?
Yeah, it's just a bit weird because this time of year is usually dominated by football, and you're so used to watching the news and seeing highlights and just the general talk about it that when it's not there, you kind of like, well, fuck, what do we do?
What the hell, man? What the hell? But
but we have some good news on that.
Yes, well, you actually were going to tell me before we started recording. What was the news that you found out about the AFL, mate?
It was actually the NRL.
NRL,
which
sorry.
I believe these two go pretty much hand in hand.
Hopefully.
I get the feeling that the NRL in Australia had knew something that the rest of us didn't know, because about 2 weeks ago they released a start date for their season as May 28th, which at the time everyone thought, what the hell? There's no way in the world.
Yeah, it was a bit ridiculous, really.
But yeah, in the last couple of days, especially with the numbers dropping so rapidly, and with all of a sudden the talks just shifted almost overnight to us exiting all this. It makes you wonder: did they know something that the rest of us didn't, or were they studying the numbers? And did they get advice from health professionals, and they've made a genius decision, because really, their time frame right now, with only 21 new cases in Australia, and with being in 4 weeks' time, if things continue on this trend, they might have struck gold with that announcement.
Yeah, I reckon so too. And hopefully that the AFL follow suit.
And that is something I wouldn't mind touching on too. Is that a lot of people are genuinely absolutely opposed to it all, and just saying, "Oh, well, why is football important? Why is sport important?" And it's not just about the sport itself, or about the money from the stockholders, which they probably obviously want to line their pockets, and it doesn't take a genius to figure that out too. But you've also got to think of the mental well-being of athletes who aren't geared the way normal people are.
Yeah.
As hard as it is for someone like me and Matt, it's probably almost double that for someone who lives their life in a competitive mind state.
Oh yeah, definitely, mate. Especially for a rugby player, a boxer, football player, soccer player, anyone who actually does play sport professionally, this would be killing them.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the money. That's what people kind of everyone sort of thinks it's all about money. It's all this, that, and the third. But I truly believe a lot of this, the damage from this will be mental. And I believe that's something that in years to come is really going to, in months to come, is really going to be the difficulty of all this.
Yeah. But then at the same time, it's not even just the athletes too. It's the bloody motorsport as well. Like the Grand Prix was cancelled. And the bloody the V8s have now been cancelled. They only had one race for the year, but now it's all going esports apparently.
Yeah, well, that's one industry which is probably benefiting from this more than any other.
It's like bloody like I don't know where it bloody was. I actually heard about it, but it was on some bloody thing I was looking at. I think it was on Facebook or something. Scott McLaughlin was doing esports, and so was the Kelly Brothers and a couple of others. So I suppose at
Yeah,
least
and
they're
they've got
doing something.
a few of the F1 boys have joined them. Max Verstappen's actually
Yeah, he's part of the
joining in on
VS,
the
isn't
fun.
he?
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things where people are finding their way through it.
Yeah, it's just it just seems like some people just don't seem to really, in some ways, respect or actually revise all that. Probably the best way to say, or the best thing to probably say, is that people are no longer going to be able to take like this. Like this is no shit. I was thinking about this actually today, to be honest. No one now, in their right mind, unless you're a fucking hermit, will take it for granted going to the beach, going down for a coffee, going down for Macca's, going down for KFC, going down to watch a movie even. No one is actually going to take this type of shit for granted anymore, because everyone has more or less been in their house, for isolation and that. But like, I can't tell you from experience. But the thing I do not appreciate is, and I dare say Edge will probably say the same thing, is that people are saying, like the stupid bloody it said, I heard seen on Facebook, that it's worse than prison. It's like being in prison.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, mate, really? Like, I've never been to prison. Andrew probably hasn't been to prison. But I don't know about it for a fact. But you gonna talk? Not freaking told me nothing, mate. You been talking nothing.
Been in juvie for a little bit, but not in prison.
Not freaking prison. But to say, like, turn around and say publicly that it's, it's better. It's not as good as being in prison or something, or it's like being in prison. Like, what the fuck, mate? Have you ever been in bloody prison? Like, I know for a fact that I don't think it'd be more like being in prison. And the people who are actually saying that it is like being in prison, they're multi fucking millionaires, and they got everything on their bloody fingertips. So,
Yeah, prisons are a bit of a different world.
what's your bloody thought of that, mate?
Um, it probably segues into a lot of things in which it all comes into one. One of my biggest pet peeves in society is that we're far, far too boisterous in what we say. I mean, I understand freedom of speech, and I'm not suggesting anything other than that.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that we become anti-freedom of speech, but you also gotta, there's also a fair use policy to freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Per se.
Yeah.
You got to be accountable for what you say, and to say they come out and say something like, "Oh, it's worse than being in prison."
That's
just complete and utter rubbish.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where we've gotten so comfortable saying that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, like I said, mate, unless you actually been in freaking prison, more or less keep your fucking mouth shut, more or less. But
Pretty much, yeah.
But like in some ways, right, I should really put it towards Andrew too, because he actually is a professional boxer. You haven't fought in a while, but how would actually in your actual, well, your class as an expert, you're a professional boxer. You've trained, you've done all that shit.
Yep.
What type of bloody, in some ways, mindset that a professional boxer would have to go through, because the bloody gyms are shut, everyone else would be pulled off work. What type of mindset would a boxer actually be in this at this point in time? Because we've been in about 4 or 5 weeks in isolation. What would a professional boxer actually be going through right now?
Well, it's probably a double-edged sword. I mean, it's one of those things where if you had a fight date lined up and everything was in progress and you're in the middle of a training camp, it would be a very empty feeling because you're working so hard towards something, and you obviously you're thinking, oh, okay, it's got all this hard work going to culminate on this date, and you'll hit the point where you get the news that, hey, everything's off.
Yeah.
The first thing you're going to think is, oh, well, what do I do now? But then you've got this other thing where you realize that once this ends, you're going to have to click right back into it.
Yeah.
And to touch on what we were talking about before, because I'm glad you brought this up, it's probably when we're touching on what I was saying about people being too opinionated, is I have a real pet peeve, and it's something in which the average person would have no concept of, is that you hear it a lot about footballers in particular.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a footballer. I don't know, my sport is entirely different to AFL. No, but those blokes cop it day in, day out. Oh, they get paid enough. They shouldn't complain anything, this, that, and the third. All this. They should try working a 9-to-5 job. Well, I will put this forward to anyone, whether it be a truck driver, whether it be a farmer, whether it be a bricklayer. Now, they're all tough jobs. I agree with that. But I don't think any of those boys would be able to handle the mental pressure that an elite level athlete, and I'm not elite by any stretch of the imagination, but an elite level athlete, the pressure they'd have to go through, not just the physical training and all that kind of stuff, because that's one thing, and that's probably the easiest part. But when you've got millions of eyes on you, that's something in which the average person will never understand.
Of course.
And, my small window into it, I can at least understand that these people, the pressure that's on them, it's got to be something in which it will be doubled when you're reading with social media, with Twitter, with Facebook. Every news article always running a certain person down. That's where I think we as a society have got to show restraint and stop hammering people that are in public eye.
Yeah.
Because You gotta imagine what it's like to have not just one or two, because we've all been there. We've had one or two people that we can't stand that give us grief.
Yeah,
We can just switch those people off and forget about them. You can't switch off 100,000 people.
yeah.
You
Well, that's
can't
it.
switch off millions of people, and that is something that for all, not just athletes, for all celebrities, if something can change in the world, that is something I would like to see change.
Yeah, definitely.
Is the the pressure that because it's so easy to do it on social media. You say something, you don't even verbally say it. You type it out,
Yeah.
but it still has an impact on someone to read it.
Oh, of course, and it would especially if you read something that's really really negative, and that will bloody drop their confidence down to the fucking lows, mate, and it would make them feel like bloody shit. But anyway, as you were saying, yeah, go ahead, Andrew. Oh, well, I've lost him there. We might still have him here because we're actually talking over Facebook. So just give him a minute. Um, might just give him a call back and see what happens. All right, see what we can get on to him.
Yellow.
Yeah, mate. You bloody cut out there.
Yeah, I got no idea what happened just then.
The joys of internet. The joys of bloody internet. Right. Anyway, so we're talking about the mindset of a professional boxer or professional athlete. So basically, the other question I probably have for you, mate, is now I know, like, I don't know for a full fact, but I know from you that what you've told me, the amount of training that you do, I've seen some boxers fucking ripped. This type of thing would be pretty hard on because they would have to be training every single day in certain points of but certain exercises, different ways of life that they was used to, like doing a 4K run or that type of shit. What type of training would they have to be doing to keep sure that their bodies are in tip top shape?
Well, the simple answer is there's nothing they can really do that can keep them in a fight ready state because you know you can't spar anyone, which the
Yeah,
people that don't know sparring is when you simulate a fight, a training style. Um,
and that's
they
very
can't
important
do
to a
anything.
boxer. That is very important to a boxer, isn't it?
Yeah,
That you have to
that's
spar.
everything to them. That's all your timing and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah,
I mean, you can run for miles, but there's nothing that's going to get you anywhere near the shape that and it's going to it takes months to get into that shape too, really. So a lot of these fighters who had big fights coming up, for instance, I'll bring up a recent one between Wilder and Fury. Deontay Wilder lost his heavyweight title, and he wanted an immediate rematch. Well, the problem he's going to face now is he wants that title back more than anything else, and it's eating him alive. And now he's got to sit there in a holding pattern for how long? Just imagine the pressure that you'd not the pressure, pardon me. Imagine the frustration that you would feel not being able to right a wrong.
yeah,
So yeah, that's probably fighters like that who had fights in the works. They're the ones that this is really affecting. Fighters who were just in a bit of a no man's land, trying to organise another fight. It's not too bad for them because really they were in this stage beforehand.
yeah.
But I just can't imagine what it'd be like for people who had fights lined up and everything. It would just be horrible.
Yeah.
But in saying that, it's probably it's it's better than probably being a 7-year-old having this virus. So I guess there's always a brighter day to it.
There's always a silver lining, mate. I think the word is, isn't it? It's it's just basically something that people just have to kind of back off from. Like, Yeah, okay, you've just been put off your job, all that type of shit. I feel sorry for you, mate. I really do. But you're not the only one who's been going through shit. Like, like I said, the AFL, NRL, boxers, VSM car drivers, F1 drivers, everyone who's in a professional sport, they've almost all been shut down. Like the NBA shut down apparently, the NFL shut down, the NHL shut down, all the FIFA and that type of shit's been shut down. And it's
Yeah, and sorry to cut you off here, mate.
yeah, you're right, yeah, you're right. Go on.
Probably to touch on the issue of people you saying everyone's being put out of work.
Yeah,
People complaining about sports starting again. Ask yourself something. Would Joe Blow in the corner, whose local business is shut down, would you have a problem with him being able to reopen his doors? No, you wouldn't. So why would you have a problem with things like the AFL starting back up again when it's got two things? It's providing much needed entertainment to people who are stuck at home,
yep,
most importantly. And a lot of these athletes, a lot of their sport itself is what keeps them mentally sane.
yep, exactly
So,
right.
I mean, and it's one of those things where I do understand what people fear about it, but really, you wouldn't stop Joe Joe in the convenience store from reopening. So why would you stop a bigger business that has a chance to reopen?
Yeah. It's actually very similar to what I heard. Apparently, they're going to get a DJ to go into one of the games and do a 7.1 surround sound thing of a match that's actually been recorded of the crowd.
Yeah, I did
Um,
hear that.
and like I understand because I know some of the players have come on and they've said, well, yeah, we're playing say at the MCG and we've just kicked a goal and we're so used to having the big roar of the crowd and banging on the fences and that type of shit and all the clapping and cheering and it would be kind of make the players feel out of place. Like they wouldn't be thinking, oh, okay, I just kicked a bloody goal from about 60 metres out and right in front, or I've just done a bloody side kick on the boundary and, done one of Eddie Betts' famous kicks. And it just seems like, oh, okay, what's the freaking point? But I suppose at some point, if they want to have this crowd can, I think they're calling it, around when they actually do kick a goal and this DJ hits a button and the whole crowd erupts, I suppose that might give some satisfaction to the player, but I understand why they're doing it for the players. I understand that, and for the viewers at home, like trust me, I dare say you'll say this too, mate. It felt so bloody weird watching a game with no crowd, and all you actually hear every single yell on screen that the teams were saying, like
Yeah,
Pasty,
the yelling was
Pasty.
coming from the players
Yeah,
and not the crowd.
and it was so bloody strange, mate. Like I don't know about you, but I just found it. It was like
Although
it's like weird.
I did notice something in once the game got going, you kind of forgot all about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so I mean, it can work without crowds. It's just got to be one of those things where
Has to be
either
beneficial
going,
to the players too. That's the whole
yeah,
thing. Oh mate, it's like I can't remember exactly what country it was. It was one of the Asian countries anyway. And
China,
hey,
China.
China. I don't think it was actually in China. But I
Righto,
think it was
Trump.
like in Malaysia or something. And I was like, well, I think it was baseball. I think they were. Have you heard this, mate? About some Asian country bringing their baseball back to life and that. And instead of having no crowds there, they're putting cutouts of crowd people there. Have you heard about that?
No, but that's a bit keen.
But the worst thing was, mate, they've got these big robots. I can't remember. It was on the other day on the news, and I literally pissed myself laughing. It was so bloody funny and how ridiculous it was. Like you just can't do it. You can't go onto a stadium and put on these cutouts of these so-called people and put masks on them. That was a funny touch too. But they actually put little fucking surgery masks over the bloody over the mouths. That was a pretty stupid fucking thing about it. But they've got these people, and they've actually got mannequins going down the freaking aisles with food, like the old bloody hot pies, cold drinks, that type of shit. They'll actually
I'd
go
kill for a footy hot dog right now.
Oh yeah, a nice 420 pie, and that's another episode, guys. That's another topic. What to have?
420 pie.
What to have at the footy? That's another episode, another topic. But because we've been going for about 45
Just
minutes.
No more
mate.
Corona. Just no more Corona.
You-
That is something I would like. When this all
What's
ends,
that?
if we can just get rid of Corona as a beer, I'd be very happy with that.
Oh mate, yeah. Oh Jesus. Yeah, did you know they've actually been shut down? Well, the production of Corona has actually been shut down.
Not a moment too soon.
No. And I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty sure, I heard about it, and it was on the news or it was on Facebook. Everything's on bloody Facebook, but the whole thing is that you don't always believe what's on Facebook. Apparently, because...
Wait, Facebook doesn't tell the truth all the time?
Oh, no, it does, mate. Don't you know that? Wink, wink, and nudge, nudge. No, mate, it doesn't. Not all the time.
That could have fooled me.
Oh, yeah, bloody fools everyone, but doesn't it? But the whole thing is that apparently, because it was called coronavirus, they actually wanted to get Corona to change their names. Excuse me, I've actually got the hiccups. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's a bit keen.
A bit far-fetched too. Like, really, bit far-fetched.
I think you have to try and stop the way you stop certain words. Like, I'm just going down to the shops to get a case of Corona.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm coming back with a case of Corona.
But one thing I do want to ask your opinion on, mate, is...
Who shot JFK?
Oh, God, no, that's another episode, mate. That's another episode. What is your thoughts on the Ruby Princess? The Ruby Princess. The infamous cruise ship.
Oh, well, it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, really. I mean, I can understand people being outraged by it, but I mean, I don't really know what could have been done about it. I mean, obviously, we know the original stuff up, and yeah, that was a big stuff up, but at the same stage, you've got to be. This is all unprecedented, so really.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous one to sort of get into that one because you really open up a can of worms by saying it.
Oh, yeah. No, it's been all over the bloody news about this infamous ship, the Ruby Princess. It's just one of those things where not many... Well, it's been mentioned, and unfortunately a couple of people have died from it and all that type of shit.
A couple of people. It's like 20% of all our cases.
Exactly. Mate, I was kind of being generous. Come on. Apparently,
Next, you'll be telling me it's not China's fault.
Oh, jeez, mate. I know. Jeez, mate, I don't know. I don't know. You don't know. You just don't know.
Jeez.
It could have been freaking formed up in a bloody basement down freaking whoop whoop. Who knows? But yeah, whatever. It's just one of those things where people are really bad mouthing the government and about it, and it hasn't. What actually wasn't just the Ruby Princess. It was also I'm not going to name the ships, but apparently
Ruby Tuesday.
What the hell? And the whole thing was too is it wasn't just the Ruby Princess. It was like 3 or 4 different ships. But anyway, that's just the way it goes. Well, we've been going on for nearly 49 minutes now, and I just reckon that's shit will change. Well, this is more us wrapping up there not tonight, mate. And I reckon that shit will have to change. And I reckon after this virus is dealt with and all that type of shit. We'll probably talk about it probably next episode as well, but probably not as much because we're going to have another topic to talk about, of course. But we'll give you updates about what's going on and that type of shit. But it's just one of those things where if nothing does not get done or nothing gets changed, we have learnt nothing. That's basically my final thoughts on that subject. Anyway, what about you, mate?
Well, I just feel like I probably agree with you that something needs to be changed, and I feel like what needs to be changed is just more accountability for the media.
Yeah.
I'm going to name a show that I think is one of the worst for it, and that's 60 Minutes. I feel like that show is probably a large reason why no one believed this when it first happened.
Yeah.
Because they're constantly finding stories, and there's never any accountability for what they say or what they do. So,
yeah,
if my opinion, harsh as it may sound, that show just needs to be axed because it's brought nothing but crap and drama. So,
yeah,
and also, pull your head out your ass for anyone who actually seriously watches that show.
Well, I suppose we're all entitled to that thing, but yeah, what was one of the journalists? She actually got freaking put in prison because they went somewhere that they weren't allowed to. Was that bloody Sheila? I can't remember her name now. But yeah, but Jesus, I don't know. But anyway, so anything else you want to add to that, mate?
No, that's about all we can add, but I probably should just say most podcasts won't be this somber and this serious. It's just probably just
It's just a
one-off.
It's just one of those subjects, mate, that we had to talk about. Even though it is their first episode, I know that, and all the rest of it. But don't take my word seriously. Don't take Andrew's word seriously. We're just saying our opinions, mate. I've said it nearly 4 times in this podcast right now. It is our opinions. We are entitled to our opinions. Like I know that some people can't handle having a bloody opinion, and some people can't handle other people having a bloody opinion. It's just one of those things. But anyway, I was actually going to do a fact of the day, but I really can't be bothered.
No, because you told me off air and it kind of sucked. So I'm glad
really? Right, what? Learned about the Roman mile? Really? Okay.
I don't think anyone really gives a shit about the Roman mile.
The Roman mile, yeah. No one cares about the Roman mile, is that right?
The only Roman I care about is Roman Brian.
Who the hell's Roman Brian?
You don't know who Roman Brian is? Oh my God, Father.
Oh, Jesus, mate. We'll just explain for the people who actually don't know who Ryan Bryan is.
Well, you explain.
I don't know who Ryan Bryan is.
Brian Taylor from Channel 7 Footy.
Brian Taylor. Oh, Brian Taylor. Who the fuck were you calling him?
Roaming Brian. Every Friday night after the game, he roams around the winning locker room.
I was going to say, what, Roaming Brian? What the fuck are you on about? Roaming Brian. Yeah. But the thing is, too, is that most people freaking take off when he comes. Oh, here comes Brian. Freaking take off, run. But
for good reason.
But it just bloody gets in their faces, mate. I don't know. But anyway, guys.
Brian.
What?
Brian.
But anyway, guys, I'll catch you later on, and thank you very much for joining me today. And I'll see you for the next one.
See ya.
Hey, Matt here. So that's it for this whole episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Please be sure to give me a review of 5 stars or whatever you want to do on here. It sure does help. Make sure you head over to my Facebook page and my YouTube channel, Matt Media, to see all the updates and videos that I do. Want to give me a hand and donate to my PayPal? You're more than happy to, mate. Go over to paypal.me/MattEdwardsMedia and donate whatever you want. Doesn't worry me. Thanks very much in advance for it, that's for sure. Thanks very much for joining me today, and I'll hope to see you soon for the next one. Catch you then.